Hello everyone. Question is, a large company is using AWS organizations to manage its multi-account AWS environment. According to company policy, all users should have read-level access to a particular Amazon S3 bucket in central account. The S3 bucket data should not be available outside the organization. A SysOps administrator must set up the permissions and add a bucket policy to the S3 bucket. Which parameters should be specified to accomplish this in the most efficient manner? Option A. Specify as the principal and principal org ID as a condition. Option B. Specify all account numbers as the principal. Option C. Specify principal or org ID as the principal. Option D. Specify the organization's management account as the principal. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a SysOps administrator is attempting to download patches from the internet into an instance in a private subnet. An internet gateway exists for the VPC and a NAT gateway has been deployed on the public subnet. However, the instance has no internet connectivity. The resources deployed into the private subnet must be inaccessible directly from the public internet. What should be added to the private subnet's route table in order to address this issue given the information provided? Please see the options as option A, B, C, and option D. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a SysOps administrator applies the following policy to an AWS cloud formation stack. Please see this section. What is the result of this policy? Option A. Users that assume an IAM role with a logical ID that begins with production are prevented from running the update stack command. Option B. Users can update all resources in the stack except for the resources that have a logical ID that begins with production. Option C. Users can update all resources in the stack except for resources that have an attribute that begins with production. Option D. Users in an IAM group with logical ID that begins with production are prevented from running the update stack command. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a company's IT department noticed an increase in the spend of their developer AWS account. There are over 50 developers using the account and the finance team wants to determine the service cost incurred by each developer. What should a SysOps administrator do to collect this information? Select two options. Option A. Activate the created by tag in the account. Option B. Analyze the users with Amazon CloudWatch dashboards. Option C. Analyze the users with Cost Explorer. Option D. Configure AWS Trusted Advisor to track resource uses. Option E. Create a billing alarm in AWS budgets. Correct answer is option A and option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. First one is a company website contains a web tier and a database tier on AWS. The web tier consists of Amazon EC2 instances that run in an auto-scaling group across two availability zones. The database tier runs on an Amazon ROS for MySQL multi-AZ DB instance. The database subnet network ACLs are restricted to only the web subnets that need access to the database. The web subnets use the default network ACL with the default rules. The company's operations team has added a third subnet to the auto-scaling group configuration. After an auto-scaling event occurs, some users report that they intermittently receive an error message. The error message states that the server cannot connect to the database. The operations team has confirmed that the route tables are correct and that the required ports are open on all security groups. Which combination of actions should a SysOps administrator take so that the web servers can communicate with the DB instance? Select two options. Option A on the default ACL, create inbound allow rules of type TCP with the ephemeral port range and the source as the database subnets. Option B on the default ACL, create outbound allow rules of type MySQL or Aurora 3306. Specify the destinations as the database subnets. Option C on the network ACLs of the database subnets, create an inbound allow rule of type MySQL or Aurora 3306. Specify the source as the third wave subnet. Option D on the network ACLs for the database subnets, create an outbound allow rule of type TCP with the ephemeral port range and the destination as the third wave subnet. Option E on the network ACLs for the database subnets, create an outbound allow rule of type MySQL or Aurora 3306. Specify the destination as the third wave subnet. Correct answer is option C and option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company is running an application on a fleet of Amazon EC2 instances behind an application load balancer ALB. The EC2 instances are launched by an auto-scaling group and are automatically registered in a target group. A SysOps administrator must set up a notification to alert application owners when target fail health checks. What should the SysOps administrator do to meet these requirements? Option A, create an Amazon CloudWatch alarm on the unhealthy host count metric. Configure an action to send an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS notification when the metric is greater than 0. Option B, configure an Amazon EC2 auto-scaling custom lifecycle action to send an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS notification when an instance is in the pending wait state. Option C, update the auto-scaling group, configure an activity notification to send an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS notification for the unhealthy event type. Option D. Update the ALB health check to send an Amazon Simple notification service Amazon SNS notification when an instance is unhealthy. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company wants to build a solution for its business critical Amazon RDS for MySQL database. The database requires high availability across different geographic locations. A SysOps administrator must build a solution to handle a disaster recovery DR scenario with the lowest recovery time objective RTO and recovery point objective RPO. Which solution meets these requirements? Option A. Create automated snapshots of the database on schedule. Copy the snapshots to the DR region. Option B. Create a cross-region read replica for the database. Option C. Create a multi-agent read replica for the database. Option C. Create a multi-agent read replica for the database. Option D. Schedule AWS Lambda functions to create snapshots of the source database and to copy the snapshots to a DR region. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a SysOps administrator is using Amazon EC2 instances to host an application. The SysOps administrator needs to grant permissions for the application to access an Amazon DynamoDB table. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Create access key to access the DynamoDB table. Assign the access key to the EC2 instance profile. Option B. Create an EC2 key pair to access the DynamoDB table. Assign the key pair to the EC2 instance profile. Option C. Create an IAM user to access the DynamoDB table. Assign the IAM user to the EC2 instance profile. Option D. Create an IAM role to access the DynamoDB table. Assign the IAM role to the EC2 instance profile. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company has a web application with a database tier that consists of an Amazon EC2 instance that runs MySQL. A SysOps administrator needs to minimize potential data loss and the time that is required to recover in the event of a database failure. What is the most operationally efficient solution that meets these requirements? Option A. Create an Amazon CloudWatch alarm for the status check field underscore system metric to invoke an AWS Lambda function that stops and starts the EC2 instance. Option B. Create an Amazon RDS for MySQL multi-agent DB instance. Use a MySQL native backup that is stored in Amazon S3 to restore the data to the new database. Update the connection string in the web application. Option C. Create an Amazon RDS for MySQL single-agent DB instance with a read replica. Use a MySQL native backup that is stored in Amazon S3 to restore the data to the new database. Update the connection string in the web application. Option D. Use Amazon Data Lifecycle Manager Amazon DLM to take a snapshot of the Amazon Elastic Block Store Amazon EBS volume every hour. In the event of an EC2 instance failure, restore the EBS volume from a snapshot. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company migrated an IO-intensive application to an Amazon EC2 general purpose instance. The EC2 instance has a single general purpose SSD Amazon Elastic Block Store Amazon EBS volume attached. Application users report that certain actions that require intensive reading and writing to the disk are taking much longer than normal or are failing completely. After reviewing the performance metrics of the EBS volume, a SysOps administrator notices that the volume queue length metric is consistently high during the same times in which the users are reporting issues. The SysOps administrator needs to resolve this problem to restore full performance to the application. Which action will meet these requirements? Option A. Modify the instance type to be storage optimized. Option B. Modify the volume properties by deselecting Auto Enable Volume 10. Option C. Modify the volume properties to increase the IOPS. Option D. Modify the instance to enable enhanced networking. Correct answer is option C. Question is, the security team is concerned because the number of AWS identity and access management IAM policies being used in the environment is increasing. The team is tasked a SysOps administrator to report on the current number of IAM policies in the use and the total available IAM policies. Which AWS service should the administrators use to check how current IAM policy uses compares to current service limits? Option A. AWS Trusted Advisor. Option B. Amazon Inspector. Option C. AWS Config. Option D. AWS Organizations. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company has a stateless application that is hosted on a fleet of 10 Amazon EC2 on-demand instances in an auto-scaling group. A minimum of 6 instances are needed to meet service requirements. Which action will maintain uptime for the application most cost effectively? Option A. Use a spot fleet with an on-demand capacity of 6 instances. Option B. Update the auto-scaling group with a minimum of 6 on-demand instances and a maximum of 10 on-demand instances. Option C. Update the auto-scaling group with a minimum of 1 on-demand instance and a maximum of 6 on-demand instances. Option D. Use a spot fleet with a target capacity of 6 instances. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a SysOps administrator has launched a large general-purpose Amazon EC2 instance to regularly process large data files. The instance has an attached 1 TB general-purpose SSD GP2 Amazon Elastic Block Store Amazon EBS volume. The instance also is EBS optimized. To save cost, the SysOps administrator stops the instance each evening and restarts the instance each morning. When data processing is active, Amazon CloudWatch metrics on the instance show a consistent 3.000 volume read-offs. The SysOps administrator must improve the I/O performance while ensuring data integrity. Which action will meet these requirements? Option A, change the instance type to a large burstable general purpose instance. Option B, change the instance type to an extra large general purpose instance. Option C, increase the EBS volume to a 2 TB general purpose SSD GP2 volume. Option D, move the data that resides on the EBS volume to the instance store. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, with the threat of ransomware viruses encrypting and holding company data hostage, which action should be taken to protect an Amazon S3 bucket? Option A, deny post, put and delete on the bucket. Option B, enable server-side encryption on the bucket. Option C, enable Amazon S3 versioning on the bucket. Option D, enable snapshots on the bucket. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a SysOps administrator is evaluating Amazon Route 53 DNS options to address concerns about high availability for an on-premises website. The website consists of two servers, a primary active server and a secondary passive server. Route 53 should route traffic to the primary server if the associated health check returns 2XX or 3XX HTTP codes. All other traffic should be directed to the secondary passive server. The failover record type, set ID, and routing policy have been set appropriately for both primary and secondary servers. Which next step should be taken to configure Route 53? Option A, create an A record for each server. Associate the records with the Route 53 HTTP health check. Option B, create an A record for each server. Associate the records with the Route 53 TCP health check. Option C, create an alias record for each server with the value with evaluate target health set to yes. Associate the records with the Route 53 HTTP health check. Option D, create an alias records for each server with evaluate target health set to yes. Associate the records with the Route 53 TCP health check. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a SysOps administrator noticed that alarm that a large number of elastic IP addresses are being created on the company's AWS account, but they are not being associated with Amazon EC2 instances and are incurring elastic IP address change charges in the monthly bill. How can the administrator identify who is creating the elastic IP addresses? Option A. Attach a cost allocation tag to each requested elastic IP address with the IAM username of the developer who creates it. Option B. Query AWS CloudTrail logs by using Amazon Athena to search for elastic IP address events. Option C. Create a CloudWatch alarm on the EIP created metric and send an Amazon SNS notification when the alarm triggers. Option D. Use Amazon Inspector to get a report of all elastic IP addresses created in the last 30 days. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a company has an Amazon CloudFront distribution that uses an Amazon S3 bucket as its origin. During view of the access logs, the company determines that some requests are going directly to the S3 bucket by using the website hosting endpoint. A SysOps administrator must secure the S3 bucket to allow requests only from CloudFront. What should the SysOps administrator do to meet these requirements? Option A. Create an Origin Access Identity OAI in CloudFront. Associate the OAI with the distribution. Remove access to and from other principals in the S3 bucket policy. Update the S3 bucket policy to allow access only from the OAI. Option B. Create an Origin Access Identity OAI in CloudFront. Associate the OAI with the distribution. Update the S3 bucket policy to allow access only from the OAI. Create a new origin and specify the S3 bucket as the new origin. Update the distribution behavior to use the new origin. Remove the existing origin. Option C. Create an Origin Access Identity OAI in CloudFront. Associate the OAI with the distribution. Update the S3 bucket policy. Allow access only from the OAI. Disable website hosting. Create a new origin and specify the S3 bucket as the new origin. Update the distributor behavior to use the new origin. Remove the existing origin. Option D. Update the S3 bucket policy to allow access only from the CloudFront distribution. Remove access to and from other principals in the S3 bucket policy. Disable website hosting. Create a new origin and specify the S3 bucket as the new origin. Update the distribution behavior to use the new origin. Remove the existing origin. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a SysOps administrator must create an IAM policy for a developer who needs access to specify AWS services. Based on the requirements, the SysOps administrator create the following policy. Please see this section. Which actions does this policy allow? Select two options. Option A. Create an AWS storage gateway. Option B. Create an IAM role for an AWS Lambda function. Option C. Delete an Amazon Simple Queue service Amazon SQS queue. Option D. Describe AWS load balancers. Option E. Invoke an AWS Lambda function. Correct answer is option D and option E. Question is a company is trying to connect two applications. One application runs in an on-premises data center that has a host name of host I dot on-prem dot private. The other application runs on Amazon EC2 instance that has a host name of host I dot AWS cloud dot private. An AWS site-to-site VPN connection is in place between the on-premises network and AWS. The application that runs in the data center tries to connect to the application that runs on the EC2 instance, but DNS resolution fails. A SysOps administrator must implement DNS resolution between on-premises and AWS resources. Which solution allows the on-premises application to resolve the EC2 instance host name? Option A. Set up an Amazon Route 53 inbound resolver endpoint with a forwarding rule for the on-prem private host zone. Private hosted zone. Associate the resolver with the VPC of the EC2 instance. Configure the on-premises DNS resolver to forward on-prem.private DNS queries to the inbound resolver endpoint. Option B. Set up an Amazon Route 53 inbound resolver endpoint. Associate the resolver with the VPC of the EC2 instance. Configure the on-premises DNS resolver to forward AWS cloud.private DNS queries to the inbound resolver endpoint. Option C. Set up an Amazon Route 53 outbound resolver endpoint with a forwarding rule for the on-prem.private hosted zone. Associate the resolver with the AWS region of the EC2 instance. Configure the on-premises DNS resolver to forward on-prem.private DNS queries to the outbound resolver endpoint. Option D. Set up an Amazon Route 53 outbound resolver endpoint. Associate the resolver with the AWS region of the EC2 instance. Configure the on-premises DNS resolver to forward AWS cloud.private DNS queries to the outbound resolver endpoint. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, while setting up an AWS managed VPN connection, a SysOps administrator creates a customer gateway resource in AWS. The customer gateway device resides in a data center with a NAT gateway in front of it. What address should be used to create the customer gateway resource? Option A. The private IP address of the customer gateway device. Option B. The MAC address of the NAT device in front of the customer gateway device. Option C. The public IP address of the customer gateway device. Option D. The public IP address of the NAT device in front of the customer gateway device. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a SysOps administrator is trying to set up an Amazon Route 53 domain name to route traffic to a website hosted on Amazon S3. The domain name of the website is www.anycompany.com and the S3 bucket name is anycompany static. After the record is set up in Route 53. The domain name www.anycompany.com does not seem to work and the static website is not displayed in the browser. Which of the following is a cause of this? Option A. The S3 bucket must be configured with the Amazon CloudFront first. Option B. The Route 53 record set must have an IAM role that allows access to the S3 bucket. Option C. The Route 53 record set must be in the same region as the S3 bucket. Option D. The S3 bucket name must match the record set name in Route 53. Correct answer is option D. Question is an Amazon EC2 instance needs to be reachable from the internet. The EC2 instance is in a subnet with the following route table. Which entry must a SysOps administrator add to the route table to meet this requirement? Option A. A route for this address that points to a NAT gateway. Option B. A route for this address that points to an egress-only internet gateway. Option C. A route for this address that points to an internet gateway. Option D. A route for this address that points to an elastic network interface. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a SysOps administrator has enabled AWS CloudTrail in an AWS account. If CloudTrail is disabled, it must be re-enabled immediately. What should the SysOps administrator do to meet these requirements without writing custom code? Option A. Add the AWS account to AWS organizations. Enable CloudTrail in the management account. Option B. Create an AWS config rule that is invoked when CloudTrail configuration changes. Apply the AWS configure CloudTrail logging automatic remediation action. Option C. Create an AWS configure rule that is invoked when CloudTrail configuration changes. Configure the rule to invoke an AWS Lambda function to enable CloudTrail. Option D. Create an Amazon Event Bridge, Amazon CloudWatch Events, hourly rule with a schedule pattern to run an AWS System Manager automation document to enable CloudTrail. Correct answer is option D. Question is, a company has a stateless application that runs on 4 Amazon EC2 instances. The application requires 4 instances at all times to support all traffic. A SysOps administrator must design a highly available, fault-tolerant architecture that continually supports all traffic if one availability zone becomes unavailable. Which configuration meets these requirements? Option A. Deploy 2 auto-scaling groups into 2 availability zones with a minimum capacity of 2 instances in each group. Option B. Deploy an auto-scaling group across 2 availability zones with a minimum capacity of 4 instances. Option C. Deploy an auto-scaling group across 3 availability zones with a minimum capacity of 4 instances. Option D. Deploy an auto-scaling group across 3 availability zones with a minimum capacity of 6 instances. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is a company's backend infrastructure contains an Amazon EC2 instance in a private subnet. The private subnet has a route to the internet through a NAT gateway in a public subnet. The instance must allow connectivity to a secure web server on the internet to retrieve data at regular intervals. The client software times out with an error message that indicates that the client software could not establish the TCP connection. What should a SysOps administrator do to resolve this error? Option A. Add an inbound rule to the security group for the EC2 instance with the following parameters. Option B. Add an inbound rule to the security group for the EC2 instance with the following parameters. Option C. Add an outbound rule to the security group for the EC2 instance with the following parameters. Option D. Add an outbound rule to the security group for the EC2 instance with the following parameters. Correct answer is option D. Question is a software development company has multiple developers who work on the same product. Each developer must have their own development environment, and these development environments must be identical. Each development environment consists of Amazon EC2 instances and an Amazon RDS-DB instance. The development environments should be created only when necessary and they must be terminated each night to minimize costs. What is the most operationally efficient solution that meets these requirements? Option A. Provide developers with access to the same AWS CloudFormation template so that they can provision their development environment when necessary. Schedule a nightly cron job on each development instance to stop all running processes to reduce CPU utilization to nearly zero. Option B. Provide developers with access to the same AWS CloudFormation templates so that they can provision their development environment when necessary. Schedule a nightly Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch events rule to invoke an AWS Lambda function to delete the AWS CloudFormation stacks. Option C. Provide developers with CLI commands so that they can provision their own development environment when necessary. Schedule a nightly Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch event rule to invoke an AWS Lambda function to terminate all EC2 instances and the DB instance. Option D. Provide developers with CLI commands so that they can provision their own development environment when necessary. Schedule a nightly Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch events rule to cause AWS CloudFormation to delete all of the development environment resources. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is a company runs a stateless application that is hosted on an Amazon EC2 instance. Users are reporting performance issues as a SysOps administrator reviews the Amazon CloudWatch metrics for the application and notices that the instance's CPU utilization frequently reaches 90% during business hours. What is the most operationally efficient solution that will improve the application's responsiveness? Option A. Configure CloudWatch logging on the EC2 instance. Configure a CloudWatch alarm for CPU utilization to alert the SysOps administrator when CPU utilization goes above 90%. Option B. Configure an AWS client VPN connection to allow the application users to connect directly to the EC2 instance private IP address to reduce latency. Option C. Create an auto-scaling group and assign it to an application load balancer. Configure a target tracking scaling policy that is based on the average CPU utilization of the auto-scaling group. Option D. Create a CloudWatch alarm that activates when the EC2 instance's CPU utilization goes above 80%. Configure the alarm to invoke an AWS Lambda function that vertically scales the instance. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a SysOps administrator has used AWS Cloud formulation to deploy a serverless application into a production VPC. The application consists of an AWS Lambda function, an Amazon DynamoDB table, and an Amazon API Gateway API. The SysOps administrator must delete the AWS Cloud Formation stack without deleting the DynamoDB table. Which actions should the SysOps administrator to take before deleting the AWS Cloud Formation stack? Option A. Add a retain deletion policy to the DynamoDB resource in the AWS Cloud Formation stack. Option B. Add a snapshot deletion policy to the DynamoDB resource in the AWS Cloud Formation stack. Option C. Enable termination protection on the AWS Cloud Formation stack. Option D. Update the application's IAM policy with a deny statement for the DynamoDB delete table action. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a team of all on-call engineers frequently needs to connect to Amazon EC2 instances in a private subnet to troubleshoot and run commands. The instances use either the latest AWS provided Windows Amazon Machine Images AMIs or Amazon Linux AMIs. The team has an existing IAM role for authorization. A SysOps administrator must provide the team with access to the instances by granting IAM permissions to this. Which solution will meet this requirement? Option A. Add a statement to the IAM role policy to allow the SSM start session action on the instances. Instruct the team to use AWS System Manager Session Manager to connect to the instances by using the assumed IAM role. Option B. Associate the elastic IP address and a security group with each instance. Add the engineer's IP addresses to the security group inbound rules. Add a statement to the IAM role policy to allow the EC2 auth of security group ingress action so that the team can connect to the instances. Option C. Create a bastion host with an EC2 instance and associate the bastion host with the VPC. Add a statement to the IAM role policy to allow the EC2 create VPN connection action on the bastion host. Instruct the team to use the bastion host endpoint to connect to the instances. Option D. Create an internet-facing network load balancer. Use two listeners. Forward port 22 to a target group of Linux instances. Forward port 3389 to a target group of Windows instances. Add a statement to the IAM role policy to allow the EC to create route action so that the team can connect to the instances. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a SysOps administrator must create a solution that immediately notifies software developers if an AWS Lambda function experiences an error. Which solution will meet this requirement? Option A, create an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS topic with an email subscription for each developer. Create an Amazon CloudWatch alarm by using the errors metric and the Lambda function name as a dimension. Configure the alarm to send a notification to the SNS topic when the alarm state reaches alarm. Option B, create an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS topic with a mobile subscription for each developer. Create an Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch Events alarm by using Lambda error as the event pattern and the SNS topic name as a resource. Configure the alarm to send a notification to the SNS topic when the alarm state reaches alarm. Option C, verify each developer email address in Amazon Simple Email Service Amazon SES. Create an Amazon CloudWatch rule by using the Lambda error metric and developer email addresses as dimensions. Configure the rule to send an email through Amazon SES when the rule state reaches alarm. Option D, verify each developer mobile phone in Amazon Simple Email Service Amazon SES. Create an Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch Events rule by using errors as the event pattern and the Lambda function name as a resource. Configure the rule to send a push notification through Amazon SES when the rule state reaches alarm. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company has deployed AWS Security Hub and AWS Config in a newly implemented organization in AWS organizations. A SysOps administrator must implement a solution to restrict all member accounts in the organization from deploying Amazon EC2 resources in the App Southeast 2 region. The solution must be implemented from a single point and must govern an current and future accounts. The use of root credentials also must be restricted in member accounts. Which AWS features should the SysOps administrator use to meet these requirements? Option A, AWS Config Aggregator. Option B, IAM User Permissions Boundaries. Option C, AWS Organizations Service Control Policies SCPs. Option D, AWS Security Hub Conformance Packs. Correct answer is option C. Question is, an organization with a large IT department has decided to migrate to AWS with different job functions in the IT department. It is not desirable to give all users access to all AWS resources. Currently, the organization handles access via LDAP group membership. What is the best method to allow access? using current LDAP credentials. Option A. Create an AWS directory service. Simple AD replicate the on-premises LDAP directly to simple AD. Option B. Create a Lambda function to read LDAP groups and automate the creation of IAM users. Option C. Use AWS CloudFormation to create IAM roles, deploy Direct Connect to allow access to the on-premises LDAP server. Option D. Federate the LDAP directory with IAM using SAML. Create different IAM roles to correspond to different LDAP groups to limit permissions. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company is running a serverless application on AWS Lambda. The application stores data in an Amazon RDS for MySQL DB instance. Usage has steadily increased, and recently there have been numerous too many connections errors when the Lambda function attempts to connect to the database. The company already has configured the database to use the maximum max_connections value that is possible. What should a SysOps administrator do to resolve these errors? Option A. Create a read replica of the database. Use Amazon Route 53 to create a weighted DNS record that contains both databases. Option B. Use Amazon RDS proxy to create proxy. Update the connection string in the Lambda function. Option C. Increase the value in the max_connect_errors parameter in the parameter group that the database uses. Option D. Update the Lambda function's reserved concurrency to a higher value. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a company has an internal web application that runs on Amazon EC2 instances behind an application load balancer. The instances run in an Amazon EC2 auto-scaling group in a single availability zone. A SysOps administrator must make the application highly available. Which actions should the SysOps administrator take to meet this requirement? Option A. Increase the maximum number of instances in the auto-scaling group to meet the capacity that is required at peak uses. Option B. Increase the minimum number of instances in the auto-scaling group to meet the capacity that is required at peak uses. Option C. Upgrade the auto-scaling group to launch new instances in a second availability zone in the same AWS region. Option D. Update the auto-scaling group to launch new instances in an availability zone in a second AWS region. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company has a VPC with public and private subnets. An Amazon EC2 based application resides in the private subnets and needs to process raw .csv files stored in an Amazon S3 bucket. A SysOps administrator has set up the correct IAM role with the required permissions for the application to access the S3 bucket, but the application is unable to communicate with the S3 bucket. Which action will solve this problem while adhering to least privilege access? Option A, add a bucket policy to the S3 bucket permitting access from the IAM role. Option B, attach an S3 gateway endpoint to the VPC. Configure the route table for the private subnet. Option C, configure the route table to allow the instances on the private subnet access through the Internet gateway. Option D, create NAT gateway in a private subnet and configure the route table for the private subnets. Correct answer is option B. Question is, a SysOps administrator launches an Amazon EC2 Linux instance in a public subnet. When an instance is running, the SysOps administrator obtains the public IP address and attempts to remotely connect to the instance multiple times. However, the SysOps administrator always receives a timeout error. Which action will allow the SysOps administrator to remotely connect to the instance? Option A, add a route table entry in the public subnet for the SysOps administrator's IP address. Option B, add an outbound network ACL rule to allow TCP port 22 for the SysOps administrator's IP address. Option C, modify the instance security group to allow inbound SSH traffic from the SysOps administrator's IP address. Option D, modify the instance security group to allow outbound SSH traffic to the SysOps administrator's IP address. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company has mandated the use of multi-factor authentication MFA for all IAM users and requires users to make all API calls using the CLI. However, users are not prompted to enter MFA tokens and are able to run CLI commands without MF. Option A, in an attempt to enforce MFA, the company attached an IAM policies to all users that denies API calls that have not been authenticated with MFA. With additional step must be taken to ensure that API calls are authenticated using MFA. Now the options are: option A, enable MFA on IAM roles and require IAM users to use role credentials to sign API calls. Option B, ask the IAM users to log into the AWS management console with MFA before making API calls using the CLI. Option C, restrict the IAM users to use of the console as MFA is not supported for CLI use. Option D, require users to use temporary credentials from the getSession token command to sign API calls. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a manufacturing company uses an Amazon RDS DB instance to store inventory of all stock items. The company maintains several AWS Lambda functions that interact with the database to add, update, and delete items. The Lambda functions use hard-coded credentials to connect to the database. A SysOps administrator must ensure that the Database credentials are never stored in plain text and that the password is rotated every 30 days. Which solution will meet these requirements in the most operationally efficient manner? Option A, store the database password as an environment variable for each Lambda function. Create a new Lambda function that is named password rotate. Use Amazon Event Bridge, that is Amazon CloudWatch events, to schedule the password rotate function every 30 days to change the database password and update the environment variable for each Lambda function. Option B, use AWS Key Management Service AWS KMS to encrypt the database password and to store the encrypted password as an environment variable for each Lambda function. Grant each Lambda function access to the KMS key so that the database password can be decrypted when required. Create a new Lambda function that is named password rotate to change the password every 30 days. Option C, use AWS Secrets Manager to store credentials for the database. Create a secret manager secret and select the database so that Secrets Manager will use a Lambda function to update the database password automatically. Specify an automatic rotation schedule of 30 days. Update each Lambda function to access the database password from Secrets Manager. Option D, use AWS Systems Manager parameter store to create a secure strings to store credentials for the database. Create a new Lambda function called password rotate. Use Amazon Event Bridge, that is Amazon CloudWatch events, to schedule the password rotate function every 30 days to change the database password and to update the secret within parameter store. Update each Lambda function to access the database password from parameter store. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company has a stateful web application that is hosted on Amazon EC2 instances in an auto-scaling group. The instances run behind an application load balancer ALB that has a single target group. The ALB is configured as the origin in an Amazon CloudFront distribution. Users are reporting random logouts from the web application. Which combination of actions should a SysOps administrator take to resolve this problem? Select two options. Option A, change to the least outstanding request algorithm on the ALB target group. Option B, configure cookie forwarding in the CloudFront distribution cache behavior. Option C, configure header forwarding in the CloudFront distribution cache behavior. Option D, enable group label strictness on the ALB listener rule. Option E, enable sticky sessions on the ALB target group. Correct answer is option B and option E. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company has an internal web application that runs on Amazon EC2 instances behind an application load balancer. The instances run in an Amazon EC2 auto-scaling group in a single availability zone. A SysOps administrator must make the application highly available. Which actions should the SysOps administrator take to meet this requirement? Option A, increase the maximum number of instances in the auto-scaling group to meet the capacity that is required at peak uses. Option B, increase the minimum number of instances in the auto-scaling group to meet the capacity that is required at a peak uses. Option C, update the auto-scaling group to launch new instances in a second availability zone in the same AWS region. Option D, update the auto-scaling group to launch new instances in an availability zone in a second AWS region. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company asks a SysOps administrator to ensure that AWS CloudTrail files are not tampered with after they are created. Currently, the company uses AWS Identity and Access Management (IAM) to restrict access to specific trails. The company's security team needs to ability to trace the integrity of each file. What is the most operationally efficient solution that meets these requirements? Option A, create an Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch Events rule that invokes an AWS Lambda function when a new file is delivered. Configure the Lambda function to compute an MD5 hash check on the file and store the results in an Amazon DynamoDB table. The security team can use the values that are stored in DynamoDB to verify the integrity of the delivered files. Option B, create an AWS Lambda function that is invoked each time a new file is delivered to the CloudTrail bucket. Configure the Lambda function to compute an MD5 hash check on the file and store the results as a tag in an Amazon S3 object. The security team can use the information in the tag to verify the integrity of the delivered files. Option C, enable the CloudTrail file integrity feature on the Amazon S3 bucket. Create an IAM policy that grants the security team access to the file integrity logs that are stored in the S3 bucket. Option D, enable the CloudTrail file integrity feature on the trail. The security team can use the digest file that is created by CloudTrail to verify the integrity of the delivered files. Correct answer is option D. Question is, a company has an Amazon RDS DB instance. The company wants to implement a caching service while maintaining high availability. Which combination of actions will meet these requirements? Choose two options. Option A, add auto discovery to the data store. Option B, create an Amazon Elastic Cache for memcached data store. Option C, create an Amazon Elastic Cache for Redis data store. Option D, enable multi-AZ for the data store. Option E, enable multi-threading for the data store. Correct answer is option C and option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company uses an Amazon Elastic File System Amazon EFS file system to share files across many Linux Amazon EC2 instances. A SysOps administrator notices that the file system's %IO limit metrics consistently at 100% for 15 minutes or longer. The SysOps administrator also notices that the application that reads and writes to that file system is performing poorly. The application requires highly throughput and IOPS while accessing the file system. What should the SysOps administrator do to remediate the consistently high %IO limit metric? Option A. Create a new EFS file systems that uses max IO performance mode. Use AWS Data Sync to migrate data to the new EFS file system. Option B. Create an EFS lifecycle policy to transition future files to the infrequent access IA storage class to improve performance. Use AWS Data Sync to migrate existing data to IA storage. Option C. Modify the existing EFS file system and activate Max IO Performance mode. Option D. Modify the existing EFS file system and activate Provisioned Throughput mode. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company uses Amazon Route 53 to manage the public DNS records for the domain example.com. The company deploys an Amazon CloudFront distribution to deliver case statics static assets for a new corporate website. The company wants to create a subdomain that is named static and must route traffic for the subdomain to the CloudFront distribution. How should a SysOps administrator create a new record for the subdomain in Route 53? Option A. Create a CNAME record. Enter static.cloudfront.net as the record name. Enter the CloudFront distribution's public IP address as the value. Option B. Create a CNAME record. Enter static.example.com as the record name. Enter the CloudFront distribution's private IP address as the value. Option C. Create an A record. Enter static.cloudfront.net as the record name. Enter the CloudFront distribution's ID as an alias target. Option D. Create an A record. Enter static.example.com as the record name. Enter the CloudFront distribution's domain name as an alias target. Correct answer is option D. Question is, a company must ensure that any objects uploaded to an S3 bucket are encrypted. Which of the following actions will meet this requirement? Select two options. Option A. Implement AWS Shield to protect against unencrypted objects stored in S3 buckets. Option B. Implement Object Access Control List ACL to deny unencrypted objects from being uploaded to the S3 bucket. Option C. Implement Amazon S3 default encryption to make sure that any object being uploaded is encrypted before it is stored. Option D. Implement Amazon Inspector to inspect objects uploaded to the S3 bucket to make sure that they are encrypted. Option E. Implement S3 bucket policies to deny unencrypted objects from being uploaded to the buckets. Correct answer is option C and option E. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is a company needs to create a daily Amazon machine image AMI for an existing Amazon Linux EC2 instance that hosts the operating system, application, and database on multiple attached Amazon Elastic Block Store Amazon EBS volumes. File system integrity must be maintained. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Create an AWS Lambda function to call the createImage API operation with the EC2 instance ID and the no-reboot parameter enabled. Create a daily scheduled Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch events rule that invokes the function. Option B. Create an AWS Lambda function to call the createImage API operation with the EC2 instance ID and the reboot parameter enabled. Create a daily scheduled Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch events rule that invokes the function. Option C. Use AWS Backup to create a backup plan with a backup rule that runs daily. Assign the resource ID of the EC2 instance with the no reboot parameter enabled. Option D. Use AWS Backup to create a backup plan with a backup rule that runs daily. Assign the resource ID of the EC2 instance with the reboot parameter enabled. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is a SysOps administrator runs a web application that is using a microservices approach whereby different responsibilities of the application have been divided in a separate microservice running on a different Amazon EC2 instance. The administrator has been tasked with the reconfiguring the infrastructure to support the approach. How can the administrator accomplish this with the least administrative overhead? Option A. Use Amazon CloudFront to log the URL and forward the request. Option B. Use Amazon CloudFront to rewrite the header based on the microservice and forward the request. Option C. Use an application load balancer ALB and do path-based routing. Option D. Use a network load balancer NLB and do path-based routing. Correct answer is option C. Question is a company's SysOps administrator deploys 4 new Amazon EC2 instances by using the standard Amazon Linux to Amazon Machine Image AMI. The company needs to be able to use AWS System Manager to manage the instances. The SysOps administrator notices that the instances do not appear in the Systems Manager console. What must the SysOps administrator do to resolve this issue? Option A. Connect to each instance by using SSH install Systems Manager agent on each instance. Configure Systems Manager agent to start automatically when the instances start up. Option B. Use AWS Certificate Manager ACM to create a TLS certificate. Import the certificate into each instance. Configure Systems Manager agent to use the TLS certificate for secure communications. Option C. Connect to each instance by using SSH create an SSM user account add the SSM user account to the /etc sudoers D directory. Option D. Attach an IAM instance profile to the instances. Ensure that the instance profile contains the Amazon SSM managed instance core policy. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company's web application is available through an Amazon CloudFront distribution and directly through an internet-facing application load balancer ALB. A SysOps administrator must make the application accessible only through the CloudFront distribution and not directly through the ALB. The SysOps administrator must make this change without changing the application code. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Modify the ALB type to internal. Set the distribution's origin to the internal ALB domain name. Option B. Create a lambda at edge function. Configure the function to compare a custom header value in the request with a stored password and to forward the request to the origin in case of a match. Associate the function with the distribution. Option C. Replace the ALB with a new internal ALB. Set the distribution's origin to the internal ALB domain name. Add a custom HTTP header to the origin settings for the distribution in the ALB listener. Add a rule to forward requests that contain the matching custom header and the header's value. Add a default rule to return a fixed response code of 403. Option D. Add a custom HTTP header to the origin settings for the distribution in the ALB listener. Add a rule to forward requests that contain the matching custom header and the header's value. Add a default rule to return a fixed response code of 403. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a SysOps administrator must configure a resilient tier of Amazon EC2 instances for a high-performance computing HPC application. The HPC application requires minimum latency between nodes. Which actions should the SysOps administrator take to meet these requirements? Select two options. Option A. Create an Amazon Elastic File System, Amazon EPS file system. Mount the file system to the EC2 instances by using user data. Option B. Create a multi-AZ network load balancer in front of the EC2 instances. Option C. Place the EC2 instances in an auto-scaling group within a single subnet. Option D. Launch the EC2 instances into a cluster placement group. Option E. Launch the EC2 instances into a partition placement group. Correct answer is option A and option D. Question is, a company is expanding its use of AWS service across its portfolios. The company wants to provision AWS accounts for each team to ensure a separation of business processes for security compliance and billing. Account creation and bootstrapping should be completed a scalable and efficient in a scalable and efficient way, so new accounts are created with a defined baseline and governance guardrails in place. in place. A SysOps administrator needs to design a provisioning process that saves time and resources. Which actions should be taken to meet these requirements? Option A. Automate using AWS Elastic Beanstalk to provision the AWS accounts, set up in infrastructure and integrate with AWS organizations. Option B. Create bootstrapping scripts in AWS OpsWorks and combine them with the AWS CloudFormation templates to provision accounts and infrastructure. Option C. Use AWS config to provision accounts and deploy instances using AWS Service Catalog. Option D. Use AWS Control Tower to create a template in Account Factory and use the template to provision new accounts. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a SysOps administrator needs to develop a solution that provides email notification and insert a record into a database every time a file is put into an Amazon S3 bucket. What is the most operationally efficient solution that meets these requirements? Option A. Set up an S3 event notification that targets an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS topic to create two subscriptions for the SNS topic. Use one subscription to send the email notification. Use the other subscription to invoke an AWS Lambda function that inserts the record into the database. Option B. Set up an Amazon CloudWatch alarm that enters alarm state whenever an object is created in the S3 bucket. Configure the alarms to invoke an AWS Lambda function that sends the email notification and inserts the record into the database. Option C. Create an AWS Lambda function to send the email notification and insert the record into the database whenever a new object is detected in the S3 bucket. Invoke the function every minute with an Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch Events scheduled rule. Option D. Set up two S3 event notifications targets. A separate AWS Lambda function with each notification. Configure one function to send the email notification. Configure the other function to insert the record into the database. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company requires that all IAM user accounts that have not been used for 90 days or more must have their access keys and passwords immediately disabled. A SysOps administrator must automate the process of disabling unused keys using the most operationally efficient method. How should the SysOps administrator implement this solution? Option A. Create an AWS step functions workflow to identify IAM users that have not been active for 90 days. Run an AWS Lambda function when a scheduled Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch Events rule is invoked to automatically remove the AWS access keys and passwords for the IAM users. Option B. Configure an AWS config rule to identify IAM users that have not been active for 90 days. Set up an automatic weekly batch process on an Amazon EC2 instance to disable the AWS access keys and passwords for these IAM users. Option C. Develop and run a Python subscription on Amazon EC2 instance to programmatically identify IAM users that have not been active for 90 days. Automatically delete these IAM users. Option D. Set up an AWS config manage rule to identify IAM users that have not been active for 90 days. Set up an AWS Systems Manager automation runbook to disable the AWS access keys for these IAM users. Correct answer is option D. Question is, a company is planning to host its stateful web-based applications on AWS. A SysOps administrator is using an auto-scaling group of Amazon EC2 instances. The web applications will run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week throughout the year. The company must be able to change the instance type within the same instance family later in the year based on the traffic and usage patterns. Which EC2 instance purchasing option will meet these requirements most cost effectively? Option A. Convertible reserved instances. Option B. On-demand instances. Option C. Spot instances. Option D. Standard reserved instances. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a SysOps administrator is designing a solution for an Amazon RDS for PostgreSQL DB instance. Database credentials must be stored and rotated monthly. The applications that connected to the DB instance send write-intensive traffic with variable client connections that sometimes increase significantly in a short period of time. Which solution should a SysOps administrator choose to meet these requirements? Option A. Configure AWS Key Management Service AWS KMS to automatically rotate the keys for the DB instance. Use RDS proxy to handle the increases in database connections. Option B. Configure AWS Key Management Service AWS KMS to automatically rotate the keys for the DB instance. Use RDS read replicas to handle the increases in database connections. Option C. Configure AWS Secrets Manager to automatically rotate the credentials for the DB instance. Use RDS proxy to handle the increases in a database connections. Option D. Configure AWS Secrets Manager to automatically rotate the credentials for the DB instance. Use RDS read replicas to handle the increases in database connections. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company stores sensitive data in an Amazon S3 bucket. The company must log all access attempts to the S3 bucket. The company's risk team must receive immediate notification about any delete events. Which solution will meet these requirements? Option A. Enable S3 server access logging for audit logs. Set up an Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS notification for the S3 bucket. Select Delete Object for the event type for the alert system. Option B. Enable S3 server access logging for audit logs. Launch an Amazon EC2 instance for the alert system. Run a cron job on the EC2 instance to download the access logs each day and a scan to a delete object event. Option C. Use Amazon CloudWatch logs for audit logs. Use Amazon CloudWatch alarms with the Amazon Simple Notification Service Amazon SNS notification for the alert system. Option D. Use Amazon CloudWatch logs for audit logs. Launch an Amazon EC2 instance for the alert system. Run a cron job on the EC2 instance each day to compare the list of the items with the list from the previous day. Configure the cron job to send a notification if an item is missing. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a global company handles a large amount of personally identifiable information PII through an internal web portal. The company's application runs in a corporate data center that is connected to AWS through an AWS Direct Connect connection. The application stores the PII in Amazon S3. According to a compliance requirement, traffic from the web portal to Amazon S3 must not travel across the internet. What should a SysOps administrator do to meet the compliance requirement? Option A. Provision an interface VPC endpoint for Amazon S3. Modify the application to use the interface endpoint. Option B. Configure AWS Network Firewall to redirect traffic to the internal S3 address. Option C. Modify the application to use the S3 path style endpoint. Option D. Set up a range of VPC network ACLs to redirect traffic to the internal S3 address. Correct answer is option B. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a company's SysOps administrator needs to change the AWS support plan for one of the company's AWS accounts. The account has multi-factor authentication MFA activated and the MFA device is lost. What should the SysOps administrator do to sign in? Option A. Sign in as a root user by using email and phone verification. Set up a new MFA device. Change the root user password. Option B. Sign in as an IAM user with administrator permissions. Resynchronize the MFA token by using the IAM console. Option C. Sign in as an IAM user with administrator permissions. Reset the MFA device for the root user by adding a new device. Option D. Use the forgot password process to verify the email address. Set up a new password and MFA device. Correct answer is option A. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company has a public website that recently experienced problems. Some links led to missing web pages and other links rendered incorrect web pages. The application infrastructure was running properly, and all the provisioned resources were healthy. Application logs and dashboards did not show any errors and no monitoring alarms were raised. Systems administrators were not aware of any problems until end users reported the issue. The company needs to proactively monitor the website for such issues in the future and must implement a solution as soon as possible. Which solution will meet these requirements with the least operational overhead? Option A. Rewrite the application to surface a custom error to the application log when issues occur. Automatically parse logs for errors. Create an Amazon CloudWatch alarm to provide alerts when issues are detected. Option B. Create an AWS Lambda function to test the website. Configure the Lambda function to emit an Amazon CloudWatch custom metric when errors are detected. Configure a CloudWatch alarm to provide alerts when issues are detected. Option C. Create an Amazon CloudWatch synthetics canary. Use the CloudWatch synthetics recorder plugin together to generate the scripts for the canary run. Configure the canary in line with requirements. Create an alarm to provide alerts when issues are detected. Correct answer is option A. Question is, a company wants to use only IPv6 for all its Amazon EC2 instances. The EC2 instances must not be accessible from the internet, but the EC2 instances must be able to access the internet. The company creates a dual stack VPC and IPv6 only subnets. How should a SysOps administrator configure the VPC to meet these requirements? Option A. Create and attach a NAT gateway. Create a custom route table that includes an entry to point all IPv6 traffic to the NAT gateway. Attach the custom route table to the IPv6 only subnets. Option B. Create and attach an internet gateway. Create a custom route table that includes an entry to point all IPv6 traffic to the internet gateway. Attach the custom route table to the IPv6 only subnets. Option C. Create and attach an egress only internet gateway. Create a custom route table that includes an entry to point all IPv6 traffic to the egress only internet gateway. Attach the custom route table to the IPv6 only subnets. Option D. Create and attach an internet gateway and a NAT gateway. Create a custom route table that includes an entry to point all IPv6 traffic to the internet gateway and all IPv4 traffic to the NAT gateway. Attach the custom route table to the IPv6 only subnets. Correct answer is option C. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Hello everyone. Question is, a SysOps administrator must ensure that company's Amazon EC2 instances auto-scale as expected. The SysOps administrator configures an Amazon EC2 auto-scaling lifecycle hook to send an event to Amazon Event Bridge Amazon CloudWatch events, which then invokes an AWS Lambda function to configure the EC2 instances. When the configuration is complete, the Lambda function calls the complete lifecycle action event to put the EC2 instances into service. In testing, the SysOps administrator discovers that the Lambda function is not invoked when the EC2 instances autoscale. What should the SysOps administrator do to resolve this issue? Option A. Add a permission to the Lambda function so that it can be invoked by the event bridge, that is CloudWatch events rule. Option B, change the lifecycle hook action onto continue if the lifecycle hook experiences a dash timeout. Option C, configure a retry policy in the event bridge, that is CloudWatch events rule, to retry the Lambda function invocation upon failure. Option D, update the Lambda function execution rule so that this has permission to call the complete lifecycle action event. Correct answer is option D. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Question is, a company wants to create an automated solution for all accounts managed by AWS organizations to detect any worry groups that URL of this as the source address for inbound traffic. The company also wants to automatically remediate any non-compliant security groups by restricting access to a specific CIDR block corresponds with the company's intranet. Option A, create an AWS config rule to detect non-compliant security groups. Set up automatic remediation to change this source address to the approved CIDK block. Option B, create an IAM policy to deny the creation of security groups that have this source as the source address. Attach this IAM policy to every user in the company. Option C, create an AWS Lambda function to inspect now and existing security groups checks for a non-compliant of this source address and change the source address to the approved CIDR block. Option D, create a service control policy SCP for the organizational unit OU to deny the creation of security groups that have this source address. Set up automatic remediation to change this source address to the approved CIDR block. Correct answer is option A. Question is, update an existing AWS Cloud Formation stack. If needed, a copy to the CloudFormation templates available in an Amazon SB bucket named CloudFormation bucket. First, use the US East to region for all resources. Second, unless specified below, use the default configuration settings. Third, update the Amazon EQ instance named dev instance by making the following changes to the stack named this. Now the options are within these numbers. Option A, change the EC2 instance type US East T2.nano. Option B, allow SSH to connect to the EC2 instance, format the IP address range to this. C, replace the instance profile IAM role with the IAM role 3. Fourth point is deploy the changes by updating the stack using the CF service R01E role. Fifth point is edit the stack options to prevent accidental deletion. Sixth is using the output from the stack, enter the value of the prod instance ID in the text box below. Now see the answer. You can download the complete list of recently updated contents from the link provided in the description. If you like this content, please like and subscribe.